Hi, I'm Todd, your Evolve Connect instructor for the day. Welcome to Express Stretch and Balance Lower Body. The only prop that you're going to need for class today is going to be a nice sturdy folding chair, something like what I have here. So if you don't have one, pause the video at this time and go get one, and when you come back, resume play. I'd like to start today's session out with sharing something from the book that our class has been following, Yoga 365, Daily Wisdom for Life on and Off the Mat. So at this time, what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes, sit up nice and tall in your chair, take a nice breath in through your nose, exhaling out your mouth. Continue that nice relaxed breathing with your eyes closed, and open your ears and your mind for the myth of Ganesha and Gajamukha. Ganesha and Gajamukha were identical looking beings who had elephant heads and round, heavy human bodies. Ganesha had received his head as a gift from his father and uncles, so he felt joyful about his looks since they were given to him in love. Gajamukha had received his head as a curse from the gods because of his bad behavior, so he felt bitter about his looks since they were imposed upon him in anger. One day, when Gajamukha was feeling particularly resentful, he convinced the reluctant Ganesha to participate in a wrestling match. The two huge creatures slammed into each other and began grappling. Ganesha gracefully evaded Gajamukha's grasp, moving so rapidly that he pinned Gajamukha to the earth in a few minutes. Defeated, Gajamukha felt his anger drain from him and asked Ganesha, "How are you so heavy yet so graceful? How do you move so joyfully in your body?" Ganesha told him, "You must accept who you are and love yourself." Contentment and joy are states of mind that begin with acceptance and self-love. So, what we're going to do today is a three-part session. The first part is mobility, we'll move into balance, and we'll finish with some stretching. So we're going to begin in a seated position here in the chair. Nice and tall, make sure that the back, you're not leaning into the backrest, but sit tall in the chair. And we're going to start down at the ankles with just some ankle flexion, heel taps. So we're going to lift up the toes, tap the heel, alternating from one foot to the other. We're just trying to create movement through the ankles. We want to go the other way as well, so we're going to pick up the heel and tap the toe. Alternating sides. Staying tall in our posture. Can we go in opposite directions now? Can we tap one toe and the opposite heel? Good. One more time on each side. Wonderful. Let's bring those feet back down. Using your hands, support one knee. And we're going to do a few ankle circles here. 3 times around in one direction and reverse in the other direction. Try and keep your shin nice and straight, moving through the ankle. Excellent. Let's set that foot down and do the other side. 3 times around, nice and smooth. Reverse the direction. And set that foot down. Coming back to our first leg, we're going to do a leg extension. We're just going to extend out, foot towards the wall in front of you. Let's do that same leg a few times. So you notice I'm keeping my knees fairly level. I'm not picking my leg up real high. I'm just extending at the knee, creating mobility through the knee, engaging the thigh, stretching out the back of the leg. Once more on each side. Back. Excellent. We're going to come to a standing position for the next exercise. You can use the chair for a little support if you need to, or you can just stand next to it. We want to do a hamstring curl, so we're going to be pulling the heel back behind, up towards your butt. Sometimes we call these butt kicks. We're alternating legs here, So we get a little bit of a weight shift from left to right. Again, you could use the chair for some stability if you needed it. Let's do 2 more on each side. Last set, and we'll come back to a front-facing position here. We're going to use the outside leg to do some standing hip circles. We're going to pick up that outside knee in front. We're going to circle out to the side and bring the foot right back down to the front. I want you to try to keep your shoulders and your hips forward as you circle out and bring your foot back down. Terrific. We're going to reverse the circle now. So we're going to turn the foot out. We're going to externally rotate that leg. Keep the hips forward. We're going to pick the knee up to the outside, bring it in, and set it down. This movement takes much more balance and core stabilizing. So if you need to use the chair for a little bit of support, that's fine. Excellent. Let's move to the other side of the chair, and we're going to do the other leg. So we're going to start by first picking up to the front, circling out, and bringing it back down. Up, out, and back down. Terrific. Let's turn the foot out to the side, pick the knee up, and bring it forward. Remember, the hips and the shoulders stay forward. We're trying to create mobility in the hip. So if you're turning your whole body out this way, that doesn't help create mobility in this hip. Last one. Excellent. So we're going to move on to our first balance exercise, and that's just going to be a simple weight shift. What I'd like you to do is standing with your feet underneath your hips. You're nice and balanced. We're just going to lean forward slightly from our ankles so we can feel the weight shift into our toes, and then we're going to shift our weight back into the arches of our feet towards our heels. Let's do that again. Lean forward slightly at the ankles, feel the weight shift. Your head and shoulders are getting out in front of your base of support. They're getting out in front of your feet. That's why you're feeling the imbalance. We're going to go a little bit to the side, so just shift your weight off to one side as if you were a tree about to fall over. But we're not going to go that far. We're going to come back. Let's do it one more time. Shift your weight off to the side, keeping your legs long. Bring yourself back. Let's try it in the other direction. So we shift over, bring back. You'll notice that my head and shoulders are getting out beyond my feet. That means I've got more weight up high outside of my base. It creates an imbalance, so I have to control that by maintaining my core stability. Excellent. Let's try this now, just first by closing your eyes. Be aware of the slight variation in your body position as your body tries to find its center of balance. Now if you're ready, with your eyes closed, give yourself a little bit of a lean forward again from the ankles. Feel the weight shift into your toes. Feel how your upper body gets out in front of your base of support. And bring yourself back. Shift a little bit to the right. And bring yourself back. Let's go to the left. Shift a little to the other side. And bring yourself back. Excellent. Nicely done. We're going to go a little bit larger on our movement now. So with our eyes open, we're going to lunge to the side. We're going to go this way first. So we're just going to step out, softening that outside knee, straight leg here. Feel the stretch on the inside. These toes should be forward. And come back. Push yourself right up to the center. Let's go to that same side again. Down. We're keeping the knee over the foot, shoulders over the hip, pushing back. Once more. Excellent. Let's go to the other side with that movement. So we're down. Again, toes forward, hips and shoulders forward. Bring it back up. We're putting the weight into this back heel here, pushing back up. Once more. Excellent. It's a nice stretch for that inside of the thigh. We're going to take this up a step if you're ready for it. If you're not, just stay with the side lunge. But what we're going to look for is we're going to look for that side lunge, and as we come back, this leg is going to come up into a knee lift. So we're going to come back to center and lift up, and then down. So we have to push off hard enough to get up, controlling our momentum and our motion as it comes over. So we're stabilizing with this leg at the top. Good, let's bring that foot down. Let's try it going the other direction. So again, big lunge out to the side, push back, knee comes up. Notice I'm keeping shoulders over hips the whole time, keeping the posture tall, so that my body weight doesn't create any unnecessary imbalance. Good, one more. Excellent, nice job. We're gonna go from front to back now. We're gonna begin with just a forward front lunge. So we're gonna step forward and back down. I'm gonna turn a little bit so you can see what's happening with that back leg. That knee is bending, the heel's coming up. I'm trying to get lower to the ground, lowering my center of mass to help control my body weight and my balance. Think of a pyramid. Wide base, smaller at the top. Good. So let's switch to the other leg. Again, the back heel can come up. If it doesn't, that's okay. If you just come to here, that's fine too. We want to make sure we keep shoulders over hips. So this is good, shoulders over hips. This is not, because now I keep going forward and I'm more likely to lose my balance. Just like that. It's harder to control. So keep the shoulders over the hips, lower yourself to the floor. We're going to go backwards next. So rather than stepping forward, we're going to step backwards and we're dropping down, coming back up. Good. Let's do two more on this leg. And again, if the knee doesn't bend a whole lot, that's okay. You're just shifting your weight backwards and forwards. Switch to the other side, shift your weight back and forward. Think about trying to get closer to the ground though. That lowers your center of balance, lowers your center of mass, makes it easier to keep yourself stable. We're going to try to go front to back next. So we're going to take this leg, we're going to step forward, and we're going to go straight back into our reverse lunge without stopping in the middle, and then return to the start. Let's try that again. Forward, push straight back, balancing on the other leg. Excellent. Now these could be small steps. Let's take the other side. It could be a small step forward, small step back. We're still trying to control the momentum, keeping the shoulders over the hips, making sure our upper body doesn't lead out in front and throw ourselves off balance. Last thing we're going to do is what I call a standing hip hinge so that we can open and close a window. We're going to use the chair. Imagine that this is a dresser and you're standing on one side of the dresser and the window is on the other side and you need to close and open the window. Now if you're standing in front of the dresser and you push your hips back behind you, your hands don't go very far out in front. You're not able to reach the window. So what we need to do is keep the hips over the feet and lean forward. Notice how much farther out my hands have gotten. So now I can reach the window without leaning into the dresser and knocking over all my knickknacks. So we're going to come back. We're going to lean forward. This time we're going to close the window. So we're going to bring those arms down and we're going to come back up. Let's try it again. This time we've got to open the window. So we're going to hinge forward, reach out for the window, and then lift the window up and stand back up. Let's try to close the window and then open the window on the same hip hinge. Window's open, so we're going to reach forward, grab the window, pull down with it, turn your hands over, lift up with it, bring yourself back up. Excellent. So that's a simple hip hinge movement you can do. Because we're bringing our head and shoulders out in front of it, you can feel your weight shifting into your toes. You bring your arms out in front too, and that's even more weight out there in front of your base. You're going to feel the effort on the back side of your legs. You want to keep the back flat, and you're going to be able to work on maintaining that balance by being aware of where your weight is shifting forwards and backwards. Last thing we're going to do is our stretch. So we're going to start out in a seated position here with a forward hip hinge. So right up on the front edge of your seat, not leaning backwards, but sitting up nice and tall. We're going to take one leg and put it out in front, toes pointed up. From the hips, keeping a nice neutral back, we're going to hinge forward so we can stretch that back side of the leg. If you want to put your other hands on your other leg for support, you can. Think about projecting your head and shoulders out past your foot. Take a nice breath. Terrific. Let's come back. Switch legs. Again, stay tall in the seat and hinge forward, projecting your head and shoulders out past your foot. Nice stretch for the back of the leg. The back is flat. not rounding, we're hinging at the hips. Focus on stretching the back side of the leg. Excellent. Let's bring that back in. We're going to stand up for the last two stretches. The first one is going to be a hip flexor. We just did the back of the leg, we want to do the front of the leg. So a standing hip flexor stretch. We can take the chair for support if you want, reach back, grab an ankle, draw it up towards your butt. This is stretching the front side of your hip and your thigh. If you can't get your hand back here, that's okay. There's a way that you can do this stretch by using the chair for some support. So we're going to take one foot and we're going to put it up on the chair. And now this in itself might give you a stretch through your hip flexor and your thigh. Make sure you stay tall in your posture, shoulders over hips. If you're not feeling much of a stretch here, or if you want more of a stretch, then we're going to go down the elevator. We're going to soften that front knee, and we're going to lower our body straight down towards the floor, which opens up the hip, stretching through the quad and the hip flexor even more. Plus we get a little bit of an isometric hold here on this other leg, so added bonus to stretching in this position rather than standing up tall. Terrific. We're just going to hold this for about 10 to 15 seconds, and we're going to come back up out of it. So let's switch over and do the other leg. If you're using the chair, just come to the other side of it. If you're standing, just move to the other side. Again, the foot's up on the chair, shoulders are over hips. We're going straight down the elevator, and we're getting that nice stretch on the front side of the supported leg. And we get a nice little bit of extra work, strength work here on the standing leg. Wonderful. Let's bring that back up. Last stretch that we have to do is going to be a side lunge. If you want, you can do this from behind the chair, but I'm going to do it in front just so that you have a better visual. We're going to go to the side and down, like we did with our lunge, but we're going to hold it this time. Toes on this straight leg are forward. The stretch should be on the inside of your thigh and your inner hip. Your knee here is over your foot. Shoulders are over hips. Again, 10 to 15 seconds here. Nice stretch on this leg. Nice little bit of strength work, bonus strength work on this leg. Good, let's come back up to the top. Shift to the other side. Again, toes forward, knee over foot, shoulders over hip. We're sitting back into that heel. Keeping the head and shoulders up, stretching the inside of this leg and the inner thigh. Excellent. Come back up to center. Let's walk the feet in, toes heel, right back to the middle. Wonderful. Great job today. Continue to look for Evolve Connect on YouTube so that you can see the latest videos and get updates as to what's happening. And before we leave, I just want to say, until next time, be active, eat healthy, and enjoy life.